What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Anthony Evans, COM, coming to you live via audio recording for the 1,000,010 podcast. Today we have a really awesome guest. His name is Danny
Bronstein.
Thank you, Danny Bronstein. Welcome. So can I call you Danny or Dan? Is that okay?
Either one is fine. I like your enthusiasm.
Okay, good. I teach high school, so I have to be enthusiastic because the kids can be interesting at times. So,
Right.
You are the co-founder of MarketPro Homes. You have a website, and so before we get into that, can we talk a little bit about some characteristics that you have that make you a successful entrepreneur?
Let's see. When I was a kid, I had undiagnosed learning issues. Okay.
Yeah.
Really bad ADD, and I went through a lot of my school, elementary, middle school, high school, and even college, not being able to pay attention, not being able to read, and
Wow.
concentrate and remember what I just read and all that. All my friends were getting great grades and I wasn't. And so I felt less than a lot. And I became very competitive that way.
Right.
Because, I always had to try to prove myself.
Right.
So when I finally got into the business world, I just had an edge about competing and proving myself and succeeding, and an inner drive.
Right. Yeah. So that's interesting. So I bet. So how were your grades in high school? Did you play sports? And
I was not a great student. I got B's and C's, and scraped by. I went to the University of Maryland, but when I applied, back in the day, you could get in if you were a Maryland resident, pretty much anybody. But when I went to apply, they said, maybe you don't want to come here.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, maybe you should go somewhere else. And so my grades weren't great, and I struggled.
Right. And this is the reason why I think entrepreneurship is really important, because I tell a lot. No, before we go there, how was Maryland? Did you go to Maryland?
I went to Maryland. I loved it. Yeah.
Okay. And
I'm a Terp.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, that's really good. So what degree did you get at Maryland University?
Marketing, business marketing. Yeah.
Okay. Because we'll talk more about the marketing section. So let me jot that down. But because MarketPro Homes, you guys I see you everywhere. I get all your flyers and I think it's awesome. But we'll talk about that when we get to the marketing section. So when you were in high school, before you went to Maryland University, what important money or financial lessons did you learn, and who did you learn them from? So
interesting. My parents grew up, they were poor. They were first generation Americans. Mm-hmm. And so they were pretty frugal. They were tight with their money. We lived, a comfortable life, but, my mother took me to, buy clothes where they had a little thread coming out and stuff like that. Everything, her name is Helen. They call her Half Price Helen. And so,
that's
I learned, the value of money that way.
Right.
And, had some odd jobs throughout high school, and some odd jobs in college, but nothing serious.
Okay. All right. Excellent. So where you said your parents were first generation, where did they come from?
Well, my grandparents are from Russia.
Okay.
And they immigrated here early in the 20th century, and then my parents were first generation.
Nice. That's totally awesome. Yeah. So what jobs are after you graduated from Maryland University, what did you do? You have your diploma. You have your marketing degree in your hand?
No, it didn't go that way.
Oh.
Okay. I was a senior in college, and I had nothing going on. No prospects, no idea what I wanted to do. Okay. I went, it was Christmas break, and I went down to RJ Bentley's in College Park. It's a restaurant at the University of Maryland. It's still there.
Oh,
and,
wow.
I was going to apply for a waiter job, and this guy sitting next to me at the bar while I was filling out my application said, "I got a great job for you up in that building, that office building up there." And I said, "Okay, well, let's check it out." So we walked up there, and he had a company that sold windows and siding, and they hired students to knock on doors and get leads for them.
Nice.
And that was my first real job, and then I got really good at that quick.
Oh, okay.
And 3 months later, I found out that my uncle, or my cousin, my father's cousin, I'm sorry, had a supply house, and they sold windows and siding. Okay.
Wow.
So I opened up my own business and hired students to knock on doors, get leads. And we went into homes and we sold replacement windows and vinyl siding. And that business lasted for 27 years until the recession in 2008. And then that business went out of business.
Wow. Okay. So the recession. Wow. Okay. So that's okay. Well, number one, congratulations for working and then going right into entrepreneurship. Did you take did you have entrepreneurship in your high school when you were there?
No, we didn't. I wish we did. We didn't have anything like that. Nope.
Okay. And then,
I mean, I learned my entrepreneurship from playing poker with my buddies and stuff like that.
That's awesome. I love it. That's awesome because you can read people and you can understand, and poker has like everything in it that life does too. So that's interesting. Yeah. So you started your business. What was the name of the window and siding business that you started?
Washington Energy Corporation.
Okay, Washington Energy Corporation. So the 2008 market crash, banking.
Crushed me. I was doing very well. Nice house, 3 kids, cars, everything. 3 years later, I was bankrupt.
Wow. Wow.
And I lost everything in the recession.
Wow.
Because I kept my business going when there was no business out there.
Right.
And I had a lot of employees at the time, and they had been there a long time, and I didn't make the right business decisions, and I kept them on too long, and I drained all my funds, and ultimately in 2012 I had to shut the business down. Wow.
So now what lessons did you learn from that failed business, and what can you, so if somebody has, like, is there anything that you could have done differently to cause it not to fail?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I could have cut expenses a lot sooner. And I could have, I think that's basically it. I think I could have stopped advertising the way I was and changed with the times. I could have changed what market I was selling in, what products, there's a lot of different things I could have done.
Right.
That I didn't. I had 27 years of doing something one way and it worked.
Right.
And I couldn't shift.
Right. Wow. That's tough. But now we have, before we go to MarketPro Homes, now what do you teach your kids? You said you have 3 kids. How old are they? And
30, 27, and 24.
Okay. And then what do you teach them about money and how are they doing with money? I have a son, and I'm a money person. I'm a real estate person like yourself. And I love real estate. And I was raised very similar to you because my parents were brought up in the Depression and they acted like the Depression was going to come back. And so we didn't buy stuff that we didn't need. And so I was focused on basically buying what's needed and I didn't buy any luxuries. Now my son, For the people who are on the podcast, I just threw up my hands because like he's not that way, and he's from a different generation. So, what are your kids doing well? First, what did you teach them? Number two, how are they doing well, and where can they improve upon?
So my kids, two of them are in sales.
Oh, great.
So my son was not a great student, just like me. In high school, he was not doing well. He barely graduated high school, got a job for $10 an hour, didn't go to college for a year, okay?
Okay.
Then went to Montgomery College, decided he wanted to be an accountant, and got straight A's and became a CPA.
Wow, that's amazing. I love it.
And he did that for 5 years, and then about 6 months ago, he decided to move into sales, and he's working for a company called Siemens, and they sell to buildings like air conditioning equipment and things like that.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to help him with sales skills over the last 6 months. And that's really, a lot of my background is in sales,
right,
and in marketing. So I've been trying to help him, and my daughter's also in sales. I've been trying to help her.
Nice.
She sells software to private schools.
Okay.
They both went to University of Maryland, and then my youngest daughter just graduated from Maryland, so she's not working yet.
Okay, great. All right. Any of them going to come into the family business? I would, huh?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Are they at all interested?
My son is doing some real estate wholesaling on the side with a friend of his.
Oh, nice.
But I don't know if it's a good mix, at this point.
Okay. Well, I love side businesses because I believe that's one way that you can create wealth in your life. You do what pays the bills from 9 to 5, and you do what can set you free from 5 to 9. And so that's always a good model. Mm-hmm. So no, none of your kids are going to be in the business. Now I would love for my son. I want my son to be in the real estate business. Like I'm trying to. You guys, you do wholesaling. You find people. We'll talk about that in a second. But I'm trying to get my son into the real estate business. I bought my first house when I was 24 years old, right after college. I too wasn't a good student. I got kicked out of college. I went to James Madison University on a football scholarship, and I literally, I think it was my second year, I got 4 Fs and a D, and they told me I couldn't come back. And Chalice McMillan, he was my football coach. He's still associated with James Madison. He basically said, he set me down. We didn't even have typewriters back then. And I typed up a letter, and he knew kind of what to type to get me back in. And that second semester, I got back in, and I eventually graduated. So what are the kind of most important things that someone can do to maybe become a millionaire and like how long will it take for someone to become a millionaire in your eyes, I guess?
Well, it really, I don't know how to answer that question. I mean, there's a book, okay, by Malcolm Gladwell, and I don't read a lot of books.
Right.
But it's called The Tipping Point. Right. Okay.
Right.
And so I kind of read the the cliff notes of the book. Okay?
Right.
And in The Tipping Point, he says that in order to become an expert in anything, okay, you need to put in 10,000 hours.
Right.
Okay. So 10,000 hours are, like 4 years worth of work.
Right.
I'm sorry, it's 1,000 hours. I apologize.
Right.
1,000 hours.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. It's like 4 years worth of work.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So I think if you get really good at something, okay, really good at one thing, you can be, no matter what industry it is, you have that opportunity to make a lot of money. you
Right.
know. But you gotta find something that you like, get really, really good at it.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Hone in on it, get your skill level really, really high,
Right.
and then that will parlay itself into a lot of money.
Okay. All right. That's great advice. Yeah. So the next question I have for you is, you mentioned books, The Tipping Point. What are some other books that you may have read? Like I do audio. Since I teach high school, as I mentioned, and a lot of my students will listen to this. And so I do audio. So what are some other books that you have read or listened to?
A great book is called Zig Ziglar, Secrets to Closing the Sale.
Oh, wow.
Everybody I ever hired in sales over the last 30 years, I handed them that book, including my kids.
Right.
And I said, read this book. Okay.
Right.
Zig Ziglar's Secrets to Closing the Sale.
Yeah. Okay.
And then there's another book that I like, and that's called Never Split the Difference.
Oh, okay. That's a recent one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good book. About negotiating. Because you can, if you can be a good negotiator in anything in life, it's going to help you not just in making money, but in helping, in getting what you want, and getting other people to help you get what you want.
Right. Okay, so Never Split the Difference, Zig Ziglar, Secrets to Closing the Sale. And then The Tipping Point by, what was his name? Andrew Gladwell. Malcolm Gladwell. I don't know why I say that.
And if you don't like to read, get the audio and stick some Bluetooth in your ear.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to definitely get the audio, because Secrets to Closing the Sale, like I've been blocking myself. I don't know if it was the way I was raised, but I always thought salesmen were sleazy. And so I know the best way to get to a millionaire, or in the shortest possible time, is to sell something. And Ross Perot, he used to meet his quota by the first quarter when he worked for IBM, and he had the rest of the year. Like anything he sold after that, he would have just given it to the company. So what he did was he started this company called EDS, which later got purchased by GM and all that stuff. But so the best way, I think, one way is to sell something, obviously, and that's probably the best way. Now, let's see, what else do I have here? Now, MarketPro Homes, you got 2 websites. So tell us what wholesaling is.
Okay, so MarketPro Homebuyers, okay? So we started in 2012, and we flipped 300 houses, okay?
In 2012, 300.
No, between 2012 and 2015.
Okay, all right.
We bought, renovated, and resold 300 houses.
Wow,
okay?
Wow.
And we found those houses all through real estate agents.
Right.
Okay, through when, houses that were listed on the market that needed work, we went in, we bought them as low as we could, we renovated them and resold them. Okay?
Right.
So 300 houses renovating a house, you're talking about new kitchen, new bathrooms, roofing, windows, siding, flooring, painting, lighting, landscaping. It's a lot of work to hire contractors and get a house renovated and do it right, get all the building permits, and then people come in and do their inspections, and then they don't like this and don't like that.
Right.
After 300 of them, you're pretty much done, right?
Right.
So we wanted to shift our business, okay? So we wanted to do real estate wholesaling.
Right.
Which means that instead of buying the house and renovating it ourselves, we would get it under contract and then flip it to somebody that wanted to renovate it.
Right.
And let them do the work and sell the house.
Right.
Okay. But the problem is, how do you find those leads, the people that how do you go to homeowners and get those leads?
Right.
Okay. People that want to sell their house for you at a discounted price.
Sure.
So I went online, okay, and started typing in real estate wholesaling, okay. And there was a company out west that had a pretty good direct mail campaign,
right,
program, where they actually, for $2,000 you could buy their list of names. Okay. And and they gave you a sample of a bunch of different letters.
Right.
And you could do letters. So we sent out 5,000 letters the first month and we got nothing. Okay. The letters basically said, hey, we want to buy your home. We'll pay you cash. It's, no repairs, no closing costs, no real estate commissions. You don't have to worry about any of that, and we'll close whenever you're ready. Right. Nothing. Okay.
Wow.
So that list was to vacant properties. We were sending letters to the owners of properties that we knew were vacant.
Right.
So we decided to shift it, and we decided the next month we would send letters to people that living in the property. Okay. And we sent out another 5,000 letters, and we got some calls, and I went out to the houses. Okay. Didn't really have any kind of presentation or script.
Right.
What to say and what to do. Kind of fumbled my way through it, and we got a deal the first month. And then the second month we sent out 6,000 letters.
Right.
Okay. And within a couple of months, we were sending out 40 to 50,000 letters.
Wow.
And I got a presentation together. So when I went into the home, I did the same presentation every single time. So I didn't have to think. It was just I memorized, right?
Right.
15, 20 minutes presentation.
Right.
So now, fast forward 3 years later, we've sent out 500,000 letters a month, and do a lot of other types of advertising on the internet and a lot of TV and everything. But so what we do is we get the house. Real estate wholesaling is this. You can look it up online. Google real estate wholesaling. Okay.
Right.
You meet with a homeowner. They want to sell their house. You offer them $250,000, right?
Right.
Their house, and they say yes. They sign a contract to sell the house.
Right.
And you take pictures of the house, right?
Right.
You find out what that house would resell for if it was renovated.
Right.
Put all that in an email, and you buy a list of people that, or get a list. You buy a list of people that have bought houses and renovated
right
in that area.
Right.
And you send that email to all those people.
Right.
And say, I got this house. Here's the pictures. Here's what you can resell it for. Okay.
Right.
It's yours for $280.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So they say, I'll take it. Right.
Right.
So instead of you buying the house, you just assign the contract to them for a fee.
Right.
And they buy the house.
Right.
So your only out-of-pocket cost is what you spent to get the lead.
Right.
Okay. And they do the renovation.
Right. Yeah. And that makes sense, because I'm in the process, like renovating a house is the most difficult part, I think, about being in the real estate business, fixing it up. And now, so basically you have, you're sending out all these letters, and so that's amazing. So what are you doing? What are you doing in terms of making sure that you're not, that you won't go extinct, for example? Like, we know what happened to Blockbusters, right?
In other words, okay. So yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I've already been through one business that went down the tubes. Right. So there's no doubt that it could happen again. And but our biggest fear is happening right now.
Right.
With this virus.
Right.
Not that we feared a pandemic, but we feared there would become a recession where people wouldn't want to be buying our houses.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
They either wouldn't have the financing to buy it, They wouldn't believe it, that the prices were going to be there, etc. And we would lose our buyers.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And that's happening right today. Okay. In the last 30 days, I'd say most of our buyers have decided just to sit on the sideline and not buy anything.
Right.
Okay. They want to see if the prices of houses are going to come down. Okay. And then they'll buy, because they want to buy low and sell high.
Of course.
So we're going through that time period, okay, where we're not doing a lot of business. We went from the top of the mountain to nothing pretty much overnight.
Right.
Okay, in the last 30 days.
Right.
So what did we do? We're looking for ways to pivot our business. Okay. One of the, we're cutting our overhead, but we're not going to stop advertising.
Right.
Okay. Because we've built up a name and a brand name, and we want to make sure that when people are ready to sell houses, buy houses again, whether it's 30 days or 6 months, that they come to us. So, we saved our money, okay, and we're going to continue to operate. And when the time is right, we'll be there.
Right. That's
so
awesome.
it's a good question. I mean, you can't predict everything that's going to happen. Nobody predicted this.
Right. But the most important thing everything you said was very vital, important, but the thing that stands out to me is that you save your money. And like, I think they said, they did a survey and they said basically that most people live paycheck to paycheck, number one. And number two is that most businesses can only last, I think they said small businesses can last like 17 or like under 30 days. So that's a major problem.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, I always told my kids, that they should, when they graduate college, should find a job that has a base pay and commission.
See, that's important. That's important.
Okay, and commission, because for me, I don't want to work harder than the next guy and make the same amount of money.
That's right.
Okay, to me that sucks. Okay, I want to be able to control how much money I make. Okay, based on how good I get at something and how hard I work. Right. So, save your money. Okay, so that was what we were talking about a second ago. So here's a good one. Find a job where you can pay your bills off of your commission and save your salary.
Nice.
Now, it doesn't happen overnight, but that's the goal.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Make enough money in commissions to pay your expenses, and then you put your salary, or your base pay, in savings. Right.
No, that's very smart, because so find a job where you can that your commissions can pay your the basics of what you do, and then you can save your salary. That's so smart, because now when you say that, the advice that you may have received and that I may have received, which is go to college, get a good job, a quote unquote good job, save, put money in your retirement. Is that old? Is that considered old?
No, it's not. I mean, look, going to college, not only is it fun, but it just opens up doors. Okay. Right. I mean, the education is one thing. And I could have gotten a much better education in college if I was a serious student.
Right.
But it was just that one interview when I was a senior in college, it opened up a door. Okay? Right. So it opens up your possibilities, your world. You meet new people, and you're in, if you have a small world, okay, then there's only going to be a certain amount of doors that can open for you.
Right.
So if you go to college, you're just expanding your universe, and eventually you're going to find something that you didn't already know about.
Yes, I agree. I completely agree. I definitely think that college is part of that process. Now, but what do you say to someone who may not graduate from high school? I have students who may not be able to, but they still want to live the good life. They still want things. Yeah. They want to save money. So what do you say to those students that, he's, a guy or girl who may barely make it out? They make it out with Z's.
So it depends on you have to evaluate the kind of person you are. Okay. Right. if you're a good talker, okay,
Right.
then sales might be it
Okay.
for you, okay,
Right.
and I would pursue that. If you're not an outgoing person, but you're really good on computers, okay, then get into some computer stuff, okay.
Right. Right.
If you're good with your hands, get into that.
Right.
Find something. Everybody's good at something. Find out what you're good at, okay, and go that way. Pursue that.
Right. Now,
It doesn't matter. Look, some of the richest people in the world, including Bill Gates and the guy that Steve Jobs from Apple, and Mark Zuckerberg from Facebook, they did not graduate college.
Right. Larry Ellison, I don't know if he made it or not, but he can be added to that list too.
Right.
Now, and so that's really good advice. Thank you, because I do have some students who may not graduate, or they just may get by, and they have to find their thing and move forward.
Look, I have one kid, that my youngest, who always says, "Oh, I couldn't do that. I don't have any experience." Okay. Whenever I give her a suggestion, that kills me.
Right.
Okay, because she's closing all the doors before they even get a chance to open.
Right.
So if you find something you really want to do, call the company and tell them you'll work for free for 6 months.
That's right.
Until you learn, until you show that you're valuable. Okay.
Right.
Get in the door any way you can. Okay, and prove yourself.
Right. Yeah. I was reading a book by, I can't remember, but there was a guy who took an internship. He worked in all these different departments. He did just that. And by the time his internship was over, all the different departments, marketing, accounting, everybody wanted him to work for them, and they were bidding for him inside the company. And it was a record company, I think it was. And it turned out that he ended up running the whole record company when it was all said and done. So now the government's giving us some money, or not, well, some people money. I'm not sure. I don't even think I'm getting it. But anyway, they're giving out $1,200. What do you think about that? What do you think about this CARES package that the government's doing? I mean, other countries are giving $2,000 a month, like Canada's giving $2,000 a month until it's all done. And we have countries, Germany, they're giving out kind of like a monthly stipend. Like, so what are your thoughts around the CARES package, like them giving it to the companies and then letting the companies keep the employees and by paying that, versus having just employees pay for apply for unemployment?
I actually think we're doing it the wrong way.
Okay.
I think that the way like Germany and some of these other countries are handling it, even Canada, seems to be simpler.
Right.
Just cut every individual enough of a check to pay their bills for a couple months. Right. And then you don't have to go through all this process. I mean, this loan process for small businesses is crazy and backed up, and they can't handle the applications, and the bank can't handle it. It's just a mess, and it's going to take too long. It's going to be too little, too late.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
A lot of businesses.
I don't think now, then you have the people on the other side saying that, well, if you give it to the money, if you give the money to the people, then the companies won't survive. So, so that's kind of like a difficult situation.
It is a difficult situation. And, I'm not an economist. I think they should put the smartest people in charge, okay?
Right.
And come up with a plan. And I don't have that plan right now.
Yeah. It's difficult. Because if you do something wrong, then it can, it could crash the whole system.
Yeah.
So
we're in a tough time.
Yeah.
So, all these, go out and get a job and everything like that. We're talking about when this settles down.
Right. Now, how is MarketPro Homebuyers? How are you guys doing? I know that things are stopped and 90% of your buyers are going to sit on the sideline right now, but how are you guys still kind of I know you're still marketing, which I think is important. And how are you interacting internally? I know everyone's probably staying at home.
So everybody's at home, but we're on Zoom calls all day long. Okay. And we are, you know, people are shifting responsibilities and shifting jobs where, you know, we have everybody now. We have thousands of buyers for our properties on our buyers list.
Right.
We have 4 or 5 people now that are, instead of 1, that are calling all those buyers, re-engaging with them, and trying to see whether or not they are interested in finding an investment property.
Right.
So, you know, as far as real estate goes, there's lots of things you can do. You can buy a property and rent it out, okay, right, and make a positive cash flow, or right, you can buy it and flip it to fix it up and flip it.
Right. No.
Yeah.
No, so I'm in the process. I have 2 properties that are not rented right now. I'm fixing one up. One's going in PG County. It's going through, I have to get some county inspections. So now, should I be worried about renting to, because I'm a buy, fix, and hold guy. And that's what I've always done. And I would have maybe, if I would have known about you guys earlier, maybe I would have, but I don't like flipping, but I'll come back to that question in a second. So should I rent to somebody now, or because now that we can't do evictions, or should other landlords not rent out their properties now, or should they hold? Like, what should we do as landlords?
I think you should rent. If you get a solid applicant for a rental, I think you should rent your property. Yeah, okay. Absolutely.
Right.
And you know, there's a lot of people that have jobs that aren't going to go away.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
And so, but yeah, I would try to rent it out. Absolutely. Okay. And the rental market's supposed to be one of the big winners from this recession that we find ourselves in. Okay, because there's a lot of people are going to have to use some of their savings over the next 6 months to a year.
Right.
And so they would have otherwise maybe gone in to try to buy a house, like millennials and things like that.
Yeah.
They may have to rent for a little longer.
Right. Right. Okay. That's awesome. Now I had another question and it just slipped my mind. It's the sign of age. Okay. Let's see. So the 2 most important things are obviously in this market are cash and credit. And I think the Fed is trying to obviously prop up the economy. And I was reading an article. They basically said that the Fed could cause a depression by buying all of these mortgage-backed securities. So do you see a depression on our horizon? I mean, is that something that, and how do you respond to that?
You know, I think, no, I don't think we're going to go into a depression. I think that, you know, from everything that I read, you know, there's a 3-pronged strategy for this. One is the testing. One is the contact tracing. In other words, what I read is the government needs to hire 100,000 people right away to trace everybody that tests positive, who they were in contact with, once the curve goes down.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So in 30 or 45 days, when the curve goes down and not a lot of people are getting it, then anybody, and we start reopening society, anybody that gets it, boom, a government worker has to be on their doorstep. Who did you come in contact with? And that person and everybody else has to quarantine for 2 weeks.
Right, right.
And between that and all the antibody testing, hopefully we can get back to some normalcy.
Right. Yeah.
But we're not doing that. We're not preparing for that. I read this morning that some of the governors and like the Bill Gates Foundation and things like that are really suggesting that the federal government lead that.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it has to be from the federal government. I mean, they're asking everyone to stay home, so they have to take that responsibility to do testing, to do contact tracing, and then obviously I think they're talking about what is it? Not a cure, but like a vaccine. Yeah. they're looking for a vaccine. So with all
The
that,
vaccine's going to be 2 years away, though.
yeah, that's a
You know,
a problem.
It's a year to get the vaccine, and then they've got to make it, and then they got to distribute it, and then everybody's got to get it.
Right.
It's a long time.
Right. And the big part is going through clinical trials and making sure that it doesn't have any adverse effects on something else, you know. So let's see. Let me look over my list here. Let's see. So thank you about Zig Ziglar. I'm going to get that book because I'm a fan of Zig Ziglar's Secrets to Closing the Sale. I'm just looking over here. All right. I like the advice you gave to your kids. I think that's really important too. Obviously save money and get a job that you have a base salary plus a commission. Let's see, what else? Okay. I think I don't have anything else. Do you have any questions? Do you have any questions for me?
No. I mean, I think that if anybody's interested in real estate, okay, any of your students are interested in real estate,
right?
There's some really good training online. You don't have to have money right now.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
There's ways to get into real estate without money.
Right.
So there's a guy named Sean Terry, SeanTerry. He probably has 200 podcasts on real estate. You listen to all those podcasts, and you'll be ready to roll.
Right, Sean Terry. And do you know the name of this podcast?
Let me look it up real quick. Sean Terry, and it's called Flip to Freedom.
Okay. Flip to Freedom.
Sean Terry's
okay, cool.
Flip to Freedom. Lots of good information, and then once you listen to him, there'll be 5 other people that you can listen to.
Right. So basically, real estate is the best way to become free. Basically.
Yeah.
Now, the one thing I wanted to ask you before we go is that I did the numbers, you know, and I don't know how people make money off of flips. I mean, I know there's with capital gains, short-term capital gains, number one, the cost to sell the property, number 2, the transaction cost, number 3, and then, you know, the cost to fix it, and then the cost to hold it. Like, that's 5 things that are weighing against your profit margin. And when you were flipping those 300 houses from 2012 to 2015, what did the profit look like? I mean, I know you were making profit.
Yeah, I'll tell you. So I'd say 80% of those houses we made a profit on. 10% of them we broke even, and 10% of them we lost money on.
Wow.
Okay.
Right.
And so the average profit for us per house was about $30,000.
Right.
Okay. And these houses were $200,000 to $300,000, maybe up to $400,000 properties.
Right. So now if you average 30,000 profit, was that after everything was all said and done?
That's taxes? That's not after taxes. That's after your real estate commissions.
Right.
After your closing costs.
Right.
After your interest expense.
Right.
Renovation costs, everything.
Right.
That's gross profit. And that's before paying any employees.
Yeah, so it's kind of thin. Like
it's very thin. You have to do a lot of houses that way. That's why we shifted.
Right. And I love
we could only do 5, 6, 7 houses a month. That's all we could handle.
Wow.
And then, in March we did 30 with wholesale.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. Okay. So obviously you want to scale. And so I've been teaching, this is the last thing, but I've been teaching students that they need to scale their businesses in my entrepreneurship classes. And like, you want to scale because and I say that there are 2 ways to scale. Like, one of my students, his dad sells planes, and he sells 1 plane a month. He makes $500,000-$600,000 off of that 1 plane. And, that's what he does. He gets these used planes, he fixes them up, and then he sells them. He flips planes, basically, like you flip houses. Another way to scale is to, like I have a student, he gave me an example when I was trying to review. And he said that, if you want to make $100,000, well, you need to find 100,000 people to give you $1, right? Or so. Can you talk about the importance of scaling? And obviously, you're scaling in both of your you're scaling in your window business, you're scaling in the flipping business, and now you're scaling in MarketPro Homes.
Yeah. So I mean, I just think, you know, in order to scale any kind of business, you just have to find what it is, what people's pain points are, and what they need,
right?
And then try to solve their problem.
Right.
So you know, if people have been in their house 25 or 30 years and they want to move, and they want to let's say they're getting ready to retire and they want to downsize, okay,
right,
or they want to move down south,
right,
but they haven't fixed up the house and they don't want to put any more money into it, and you know, they don't want to go through that whole process, okay,
right.
You know, our cash offer to them, okay, solves some pain.
It's a godsend. It's a godsend.
Right. It's to some people, okay.
Yeah.
It's take a little less money, but not have to go through all that, okay.
Right.
So you know, it's about solving people's, you know, really solving some people's problems, okay?
Right.
And if you do that, you know, the scale part will be easy because people will be coming to you.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
The phone will ring, but that's what the one thing I learned in marketing college was find a need and fill it.
Right.
That's it.
That's great. That's awesome.
Yep.
Well, thank you, Dan Bronstein the co-founder of MarketPro Homebuyers. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
And I'm going to end recording. Hold on let's see. Anthony Evans here, ladies and gentlemen. Anthony Evans, COM. If you can remember to leave a comment or ranking, that will be greatly appreciated. Because at the end of the day, I appreciate you, and I want you to become wealthy in your lifetime. And if my mom could do it and my dad, then you can do it. It took them 50 years. They weren't trying. And normally, the reason why we call this 1 million in 10 is because I think the average time that you can take is about 10 years, give or take a few, on the plus side or on the negative side. So if you're interested, get in contact with me if you're interested in becoming a millionaire, please get in contact with me because I can help.